bad man arrogant. This music you do me non-stop. This music you do me non-stop. This thing you do me non-stop. Like money's not the key to wealth. Open your eyes and see. Black say you know hear me wrong. I say money's not the key to wealth. Open your eyes and see.
Okay guys, so today we'll be talking about if your parents do really guide you to the right path of life. We're going to share some personal stories, we're going to do some suggestions, and if you have anything, please put down in the comment below. We'll be happy to check it out and give you a reply anytime.
Sweet.
Awesome, so let's get started.
This is a really good question. I feel like growing up, I used to, kind of be not rebellious, but coming here in Canada at such a young age, and you're trying to, learn two different cultures. You're trying to learn the Canadian culture as well as keeping intact of your African culture, right? So the things, okay, for example, there was no sleepover. That's like, how many of you guys were able to sleep over at a friend's place? You were able?
Yeah, my mom lived here a little bit longer.
Wow, so, but other than that, then
Jump over the fence.
Jump over the fence.
She has to know the parents. She has to talk to the parents.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, she has to know everything.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Wow, your parents were like gracious. My parents did like, no. There used to be like arguments. I would like ask for like a week on end. And then the part that if they say yes, and then it's like a day before, they're like, oh no. I'm like, why not? Anyways, yeah, so I would always argue with my parents because they're like, okay, we can't let you go sleep over. Why? Oh, because we don't know this parents, your friend's parents, they may be a serial killer, or they bring like religion in fact, like, oh, they may be witches, you don't know their spiritual. I'm just like, oh my gosh, So in that aspect, I'm like, sometimes they were, obviously, for me to be a friend with someone, I'm not just friends with anyone, right? So I felt that they were not always ready to say no to the things, just simple things, basic things for your childhood, like going sleeping over. That what's the harm, Yeah. So for me, I was very not resentful, but I just didn't understand. I'm like, no, your African mentality of like, if my friend's parent is a witch, that's not right. You can't just judge someone just like that, right? But yeah, from my aspect, they're sometimes right and sometimes definitely wrong because of the culture that they brought up in.
It's because they, like, Ghana, you're not allowed to do nail polish. I went to school there, So she was strict on things like that.
Yeah, say for me it's 50-50. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But like what Regina said, I agree with what you said. Sometimes they think they know best, but they don't know best. What you're saying might make sense, but you are seeing it from a different point of view. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Okay, to me I think it's two ways, but mostly our parents are right. Like, that's what I think. And it's because I feel they are older and they've been there before. I have two younger sisters, and sometimes they can be talking and I already know how it's going to end. You get what I mean? Because I've been their age before. So usually I like to listen to my parents. That's the truth. I think they are usually right. And you can see it even in most of how like we live. Like sometimes, I'll say when we were growing up, our parents would be like, oh, you can have a boyfriend when you are 15 or when you are 16, and you still go ahead and then you go and date a guy and you are just 16 and you realize, oh, that was really childish. Like, it ends nowhere, right? So I feel like they always know because they've been there before. And I would say in this world, they are one of the people that will always be there for you. And they really care about us. So they wouldn't tell you to do something which would, lead you in the wrong way. So I think they're always right. Like, that is my opinion.
You mean they shouldn't, not they wouldn't?
I think they're usually right.
No, for some people, right?
Yeah, depending on, the personality of
because now you're talking from your own point of view.
Yeah, from my point,
Okay, let's say if your parent were because I know a couple of my friends, their parents were very involved in the major that they took at school. So they gave them choices like, okay, you do science or med school, we'll pay for all your tuition. If not, then if you do arts per se, then you're not going to get their support. So if that's just an example. In many cases, a lot of people are finding themselves in that situation. So what would you like say to that person? Like, they're obviously they want their parents' financial support because it's not easy. Like, tuition is really, really expensive, especially here. But then you want to obviously go and do what your heart is set. If your heart is set in arts, because you don't know where that's going to take you, but your parents are forcing you, go to med school. Why? Because it's all money in there. What would you do? What would you suggest?
For me, I think in the first place, I would want to know why my parents want me to do that program. I think communication is best when you understand each other, right? So I'm sure if my dad is saying, oh, go do science, he has a reason why he wants me to do science. So I would want to have that understanding. And if I have that, I can also explain to him why I want to do arts. Because maybe he also doesn't know what I'm capable of, right? So I think it's best if you know why your parents is saying that in the first place. And you can always talk it out in a polite way. Maybe you guys can just go out, have a talk. That's what I think. But for my parents, they wouldn't even force me to take a program I don't want to.
You see, like, there's something you just said. You said
For your parents, a
Yeah.
lot of times.
My parents wouldn't. My parents wouldn't force me to do a program I don't want. But I mean, I'm speaking for someone who is in that situation. I think it's best you try to understand, right? Because they have a reason. Maybe they think, oh, for your program, when you're done with school, you're not going to get a job. And sometimes it's very real. I'm sure maybe they have friends that have seen their children take that program and they are just at home, like they don't have anything doing. So they want you to do something that would help you. And it comes back to, I mean, like me saying in the beginning that our parents always want the best for us. So I would want to know why, my dad or my mom is saying that, right?
but
Because if, it comes back to, like making money, I can also explain how I can make that money, right? So it's more about communication, I think. And also just trying to let my parents understand, oh, my friend is different from me. The fact that, let's say, they were done with that program and they couldn't get a job doesn't mean I wouldn't, right? So it's more about communication, I think.
Well, I don't know. You sound like you have
Good parents.
very, very talented parents,
Very good.
We all know, trust me.
African parents.
Back to your question, if you're told to choose a major and parents telling you that you're given that in that situation, fuck it, sometimes do what you love. That's the most important thing. You don't wanna. Let me give you a little story here. Back when I was in high school, there used to be this kid who was like 4 years ahead of us. So when he finished high school, he went and did med because he was forced by his parents to do med. And he took 6 years doing med. But the moment he finished, the moment he got his qualifications, you know what he did? He went back to the parents, gave them that certification, and then he went back to school and started what he wanted. Because the parents wanted him to be a doctor. So you can imagine, 6 years wasted of your life. So in my opinion, yes, we do say parents are always right, they're looking out for you. But in my opinion, they're just trying to play it safe. Being a doctor, you're guaranteed you'll get a job. I think that's the most important thing. Personally, I'm in that situation. When I finished high school, I had the dream of becoming a pilot. You're gonna live the good life, fly around, for free, get paid. It's like driving a car in the air. That was a good life, Can you imagine that life? But parents consider it as a very risky investment in you. Look at you, they're like, it's expensive to go to piloting school. Chances if you don't get into an airline or you're a pilot, or you're done. You see, so it's up to you. Unfortunately, at that point, if you don't have the money to take yourself to be a pilot, you have to do whatever you can do. But in most cases, we do say parents do lead us to the right path, but I think sometimes parents are a little bit selfish. They want to have some bragging rights. My son is a doctor. My daughter is someone very good. It's a very good career. It's also some bragging rights. We all come from whereby in Africa, if you have the good jobs, you're a success. You're a good success. Unless you're a very rich person, then they don't care how you got rich. But I think That's most cases they're a little bit selfish, but they're trying to look out also for you, but also for themselves. It's an investment in them.
Yeah.
In my own case, I feel like other close relatives were more like put more pressure in my career more than my parents. My parents themselves were very supportive. Like unless like I never thought of like telling my dad I want to do music or things like that. But growing up, I used to like draw and all that. And I remember telling my dad that I want to do this, be an artist. Like, it's common for African parents to frown upon that. But my parents never did. They supported me. And other relatives were like, are you really going to let your son you're an engineer, why not put him in that field and all? So sometimes again, close relatives can like try to like tell your parents what to do, having fun. Even if your parents are like really, like I'm grateful for my parents. Up to this point, I made my career choices, and I'm happy about that. But again, like one other close relatives, like and they see like how your parents are living and all that, they want to like have that influence. So like it will be easier for you to like follow your dad path, your mom path, and stuff like that.
I think African parents, right?
Yeah.
They don't really get involved in the lives of their children. Right?
That's very
Like you're
true.
saying, it all comes down to communication. Like you're saying, they don't really communicate. You know?
Yeah.
I see you wearing white every time. I know you like white. That's my dad or my mom. But you don't know my favorite color. You know? I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying, like,
That's true. Yeah.
you don't know if I prefer art to science. If I like fine
interested in
arts,
the results.
like knitting and stuff like that. You don't take notes. You just, you're just nonchalant.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that for me. In my opinion, it's not supposed to be like that. They don't really get involved. So in the lives of their children, they don't. That's because they're selfish. Like Brian was saying,
That's tough.
it's like, it's like, I'm doing this for you, so you must listen to everything I say. That's just how it is. That's just how it is.
It's
And
human.
sometimes, no, chill. And sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't favor you. In fact, most times it doesn't favor you. But sometimes it favors you. Yeah, like, oh, I'm paying your school fees, I'm doing everything for you, Like, some things, there's some lies. I don't know, your parents told you lies when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
So
So
many.
many lies, right? Why? Why?
The first one, I was always
Because they
number
were
2 or
selfish.
3 in class.
Yes.
I never
Oh
was
my
below
God.
5.
I know.
I used to get A's. Wait till I got my mom's report card.
Yes. I saw my mom's report card one time.
For their own selfish reasons, right? That's why they tell us those little lies, right? Even if it's not harming you, it's still there. Like they're still, Say something.
For me, I think when you say they are selfish, I really disagree with that. Because I think the word selfish comes to like focusing just on yourself, right? And I think with most African parents, they are always rather doing everything just to make their kids, the best. Like always being there for them. Working hard, trying to pay their tuition and all that. Like to me, I think that is not an act of selfishness.
When I say
Okay,
selfish,
and- Okay?
you're defining the word selfish. You're making it too close. I'm talking
Right.
about the situation.
Yeah. And
Chill.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this. Let me clarify first. No, chill. Let me clarify.
Sure.
Let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you.
Chill.
Chill. When I say selfish, I mean, when I say sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't favor you. It's because if you guys are talking about something like career choice, like you're saying, right? Let's say you guys have not really discussed anything about your careers, right? And you see your dad is a surgeon or whatever, like you see scissors, like, like you see mask, syringe, drugs every time. Like you just one day you can just be like, oh, I want to be a doctor too. Right? Your dad is your role model, your mom is your role model, whatever. And then when you guys finally have that conversation about career choice, let's say you want to do, let's say, biochemistry. Your dad can be like, surgeon is a good, like medicine and surgery, medicine and surgery or something like that that's a good one, you know? And then you have to have that conversation with him, right? Let's say you really want to do biochemistry or nursing or whatever, right? At the end of the day, you end up doing medicine and surgery. Even if medicine and surgery is like better, it pays well and everything, right? Let's say that's not what you really want to do, but let's say maybe you just like money and you're like, sure, I'll do it. You're smart or whatever. Now, you see, it's being a little bit selfish. I'm not saying and it's still selfish, but you guys have
selfish in which sense? Because how is it favoring him?
I feel like
bragging rights.
I completely agree with what you said. Because some people may find fault with their parents, and they have that attitude that it's supposed to be you putting all the effort because I'm the child in this relationship, right? But then if you are, I think I was talking to Victor when we were on our break, when we grow up, we're mature in our understanding about how our parents are raised and the type of people that they are. It's not necessarily how that they chose to be that way. It's because of their upbringing. Exactly. So if you understand that if they're coming from a family that it was like for example, my father, he is coming from a family of where my grandfather was very strict. Right. He will come in the household, everyone will obviously go in their rooms, this is daddy's chair, this is daddy's play, no one, very, very fearful, right? So coming here in Canada, he started off that because how he was raised, that's how he started, parenting us, me and my brothers, and he was very, very harsh on my brothers more so than me because I'm the only girl. But then he realized, going through schools and seeing how other parents were interacting with their other children, in terms of the Western culture, he understood that you can break the cycle. Now, more so now, he's opened that field of us communicating, as opposed to just whipping and disciplining your kid for no reason, just because I'm a parent, I'm disciplining you, do what I want. No, he's gone down to that level, which I admire so much, that he has humbled himself. That even though yes, he's our father, he's humbled himself to the point that tell me what you guys are going through and how we can move forward in a relationship. If I disagree with him, obviously there's a respectful way to say, no, Dad, this is where I'm coming from, right? And then for him to be okay, I understand where you're coming from, but still enforce if this is the right thing, then he still didn't enforce it, but at least he has my perspective, and the next time he may think otherwise, so sorry, that was just a whole handful.
Okay, that's very good. I think we should go back to your point of arranged marriage. I'm curious to hear about that.
Yeah, I don't see why that is a problem. And it comes back to me believing my parents know the best for me, okay? And I believe they are mature than I am. Their thinking is deeper than I am, and they've been there before, right? And they can actually see ahead than I would. So why would they, want me to be with a guy that they think is best, and I'm going to say no, and I'll go for a guy that I think, is great. I think
at the end of the day, it's your life. You get to choose. What if you're not happy with the person?
I will be happy with the person because I believe love is.
Okay, let's do this. It's
not a feeling.
Let's do this.
That is what I.
Oh yes.
Your parents, really nice people, right?
Not even just nice.
They are great people, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's not a problem, right? You're lucky. That's good. But let's do it like this, because what we're saying, right? You're kind of countering it. It's not like you're disagreeing, right? It's not like you're disagreeing. It's just you're countering it. So let's make you talk for African parents.
Right.
Yeah. Because you sound like an African parent. So let's make you talk for African parents, right? We hear your point of view, then we'll see what we think.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we think?
Yeah, I think why can't my parents make that decision for me? Like they gave birth to me, right? So they have that role to play. I think even in the African culture back in the days, is the dad's parent who would find a woman for his son. That was how it was. And when you look back in those days, their marriages were lasting longer than these days. Like in my opinion, like from what I see. Today you see people, they are married 2 years and they are getting divorced, right? So I think it's great if my parents is like, I think this guy is great for you and you can spend the rest of your life with him. I'm going to decide to love him. It's not a feeling, I think.
I want to say something.
It's definitely a feeling though, yes.
Yeah.
It's a decision.
It's
I
a
agree.
decision, yeah.
What if you don't like the guy?
What if I don't like the guy? I would try and like him.
Eventually. Okay,
What if-
okay.
But what if there's like
Okay.
a situation like where he hits you?
He
Like-
hits me.
Yeah.
In the first place, I don't think my parents.
But what if they
like
don't know?
African
They don't,
parents.
they don't know that. They don't know
What if
that
they don't
side.
know that side of
Not,
him?
they don't. Not everyone
You
knows
see,
what
she's
goes
always
on
saying my
behind
parents.
closed
my
doors.
parents, my
No,
parents.
I'm making it general now. I think African parents in general, okay, before they will give even their daughter to a guy, he should be coming from a decent home. They are not just going to throw you out there.
Okay, wait,
and
Chi,
you know,
Julia, Chi,
I'm
you
talking
know-
about African
No,
parents in
Chi,
general.
when
Seriously.
Chi, for TV
Yeah.
shows, right? For
Right.
TV shows. For TV shows, do
Right.
you watch TV shows?
Sometimes.
Not like Netflix, like this kind of talk shows or talk shows.
Yeah, sometimes.
When they say things like African parents,
Yeah,
white people, black people, there's a reason.
right.
There's a reason.
Yeah,
Because we're trying to stereotype.
exactly.
We're trying to talk about how people don't see African parents like what you're saying.
No,
So
seriously.
your
like,
parents, you keep on saying
No,
because
not my parents. I'm making it general because
You-
I think African parents in general. Like I'm not speaking just for my parents. I don't think any of your parents here would be like, oh, my daughter. Even if you bring a woman home and like they don't think she's decent enough, they are going to say no. So for them to even give you a lady, that means that girl is decent enough. That's what I'm saying. African
them.
parents in general.
But wouldn't
decent
you agree?
enough to them.
Yeah, to them. Wouldn't you agree? It's more so like on their what they're seeing or what they're basing their requirement for you, for your future wife, for your future husband. It's more so exterior characteristics. So obviously your parent will choose someone from a good home, like you said.
Exactly.
More so they're looking for
African
someone who's-
parents in general, not just
yeah,
mine.
yeah, sorry. Someone who is financially stable. That's like obviously top
Thank you.
in their on their list.
Yeah.
Coming from a good home, someone who has a good education.
Exactly.
But I feel like okay, in terms of like life in general, you are raised to think for yourself. You're an individual, so it's not like to say that yes, your parents are there and you're great. Like it's great that they're there, that you can gain wisdom from them. But you yourself are an individual. God has given your life to live. You know. So
Exactly.
when it comes to a relationship, like yes, you may say, okay, obviously my parents are thinking the best for me. This should be like a great person, but you don't know, and your parents too don't know their their true character. So like, what even if they hate you, you and your partner, your parents don't know that person is abusive. And the exterior, they're like, yeah, he's pleasing, he's coming from a good family, he has good set of income, but you don't know his personality, right? So why not take the time to get to know someone, and as opposed to just like, marrying someone just because, oh, my parents have said to marry them.
When you talk about hitting, okay, for me I think if a guy will hit you, it runs in their family. Like there should
No.
wait. I'll explain. No, I can explain that.
Yeah.
I think it would be very difficult for a guy, okay, who grew up in a house that, let's say, his dad is so nice and coming from a responsible home. That guy, I can bet, like, he's not going to hit his wife. I can bet on that.
We
No.
can't.
No,
You can choose to
doesn't
take the
matter.
truth.
Doesn't matter if you came from a good home or whatever. Honestly, the person,
The person might have any issues. You
depends
don't know.
on you. No.
You don't know.
You were told
Julia.
nothing. It means nothing.
Julia, you just said
It
you
means
just said
nothing.
loving someone is a decision, right?
Exactly.
So even as kids, when our parents are training us, we decide that maybe this thing I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
So it's a decision. Maybe you're out there in school, you prefer your friends, the association you get from your friends. That's the kind of life you want. So it's a decision too. Like your parents will be nice, they give you the best training, but you'll be home and you act like you're a good kid while you're out there.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You're following different things, different cause. So it's a decision too. So your parent can see this person like you come from a good background and everything, smiling, you know. Yes, mom, see your parent. Yes, mom, it's good, man. I'm okay. But again, do you know what that person is doing when they're in school? You don't know. When they're out in the public, do you know?
I mean, that's a good point. But
Do you go to a boarding school?
yeah, I went to a boarding school.
Okay.
For how long?
For 3 years. And even in elementary school, I went to boarding school as well.
3 years. Was
So
it a
in
Christian
total-
school?
Pardon?
Was it a Christian school?
Kind of. And I would say even
Boys
in
and
university, I was living on,
Boys and girls?
it was a girls' school.
Do you club?
Pardon?
Do you club?
No, I don't club.
I can tell.
Obviously.
I went to a girls' school too.
I'm not judging you.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing up boarding school is because I feel boarding school is where parents throw you if they don't want to get involved. You get there, you spend, what? How many months do you spend? A semester, 4 semesters?
Like 4.
So you actually spend like around 4 months in a year with your parents. Most of it's always in boarding school. So with that, how do you expect your parents to know what you really want? I would say sometimes even your teachers would be your parents for that period of time, so they would know you better. So I feel that whenever we're thrown into boarding school, sometimes some children deserve it. They might be a headache for the parents. So those ones don't deserve to go to boarding school. Then on the other hand, the other parents who are too busy with their lives, selfishness, as someone was saying here. They're probably busy. We're not going to say that's selfishness, but they're probably too busy with their lives and they don't want to get involved with the kids. It's easier to take them to boarding school to give it up to someone else. Another thing I would also call is, when you also grew up, I know most of you people probably had house helps in the house who do everything for you. Not everything, but they'll do a good chunk of the stuff in the house, you know. So I feel like also some people also brought up with their house helps. Like in my example, I would say that my parents are always busy up and about. You know, you'll see them like when they're off work. When you're in boarding school, you don't get to see them. You're in school, you're learning, or you're just wasting time, or just you're in school. So I feel in this case, parents really don't get involved. So when they end up choosing the career path for you, they really don't know you that well. At some point, whereby if most of you ask your parents like, what's your favorite even color, I'm sure they wouldn't know that. But ask your friends, they'll probably know. You know, ask your parents, what do you do for free time just to relax? You know, they wouldn't know that. So she probably has a good relationship with her parents. Probably her parents know that, you know, and some here probably do have that, whereby they're open with their parents. Most people here, I find, we're really on our own.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you're raising yourself. You know, like when parents are telling you this, they're just there. Quick question: at what point do you have an opinion in your life? Because you make it sound like
My
parents choose your
parents are
career,
always
right.
they choose your career, they choose your
Running
marriage.
everything.
They should just be like, yo, wear this
You
pink
chose
candle
to
today.
follow the direction.
You're pretty
Exactly.
married.
Because you chose to follow the direction, that's why you have so much praise on your parents, and I respect that. But if you do not choose to follow the instruction or your direction, then
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I agree with them all the time, right? When I don't agree with them, I let them know that, hey, this one, I don't agree with this. And then they'll let me know why this is what they are saying. And I also let them know why I'm saying this. And as parents, I believe they are matured enough to like make better decisions, right?
No.
I'll give you a scenario, okay? So I have this niece, she's
It's
4.
always about you.
No, wait, and I'm talking.
Let her
Like,
say the
just
story.
wait. I have this niece, she's 4,
I find you
okay?
so good, man.
No, too like I have no. It's not just about them being too nice. I think it's African parents.
No, it's not. It is not.
You can hear from
Can we
her.
tell her? Can we tell her?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not.
I'm making a scenario
Who's
here.
going to tell her?
No, I'm making a
It is
scenario
not.
here. Okay,
Let me tell her.
I'm making a scenario here. So I have a niece. She's 4. Okay, and maybe when she's taking too much sugar and like, oh, I want this toffee, like I want this, I want that, and then you're like, no, you can't have it. No matter how I explain to her that she can't take it, okay, she's not going to understand me because our maturity level is very different. So sometimes it's not also just about communication. I think it's about maturity as well. You can't say you are 22 and then your maturity level is the same as your parents that have lived on earth for like 50.
True.
Do you get what I mean? What you are seeing or what you are saying, they've been there before. So, okay, sure, go ahead.
Sorry, finish.
Oh, I can finish? Okay, thanks. So I think sometimes, as children, we should be willing to accept that, our thinking is not going to be the same. You might think, oh, even when I explain to my dad or when I say this to my mom, they are not ready to listen or they don't understand me. That's the same way, it's about maturity. You get what I mean? So maybe my mom used to say this or that. So that's why I try to give them that space. And I would say I've never regretted listening to my parents, giving me any advice. When I was in elementary school, they're like, I can't have a boyfriend. And I took that. I didn't date any guy when I was in elementary school. And I saw my mates that went ahead dating, believing they are going to get married to this crush they have, It's like, this guy, I like him.
I know.
You get what I mean? And they didn't tell their parents about it. Like, you were just saying, like, who was saying, was it Victor? You were like, you act all good at home and everything. Like, they still went ahead, they were dating, kissing and all that. So they asked me, are they together? No. And some of them even ended up getting pregnant. And trust me, even though, it's past, the mistake is there. It's going to haunt them. They have to be there. Even if, you are going to school, you have to also cater for this child. So, the consequences are there. So sometimes I feel like when our parents are saying something, we might not get it at that point. Okay, and we should be ready to understand that, okay, this is someone older, and they know what they are talking about. And that is why we also need to take time and get to know them and, why, they say certain things. And understand, okay, this is someone older. Let's take our time, let's chill.
But I feel
If you don't let me know you, would I know you? If you don't really, when guys talk to girls, like, hey, can I get your number? And she's like, no. What do you want him to do? You know that some guys that are so, they don't give up, man. No, there's some guys, they don't give up. They go on and on and on. And the girl is like, no, she's replying, but, she's not really giving. At the end of the day, the guy's like, I give up. It's the same thing.
Because he gave up. I think if he was persistent, you have it.
Okay, wait.
Say that to the camera. Say that to the camera, please. Don't say it too late. Say it to the camera.
I think if you are persistent, you have it. Seriously. Seriously. You can. I've never seen anyone being so persistent and consistent, and they didn't get what they wanted. You can only not achieve something if you are not, persistent in what you are doing. You get what I mean? And that is where failure comes in. When you talk about successful people, it's because they kept repeating what they were doing.
In my opinion, I feel like parents are really providers. I don't find them as a people to guide. You just come into this world, they provide for you what you need to get you on your own. And as karma, you do that to your kids also. But sometimes add a little bit of love into it.
I agree with.
Not just provide.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I agree to some extent. Julia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You brought up a good point about in the beginning where you spoke about communication. A lot of us are coming from, or we have been raised with parents who are very authoritative, meaning that they're very, they're just simply there to just say this and this and this, as opposed to build that relationship because how they were raised. So it's a cycle. So if you're gracious enough to have that parent or parents who have broke that cycle, where they're now more involved in a healthy manner, it's not dictating your life because it's your life, and that's many times a lot of parents forget that it's our life. They've lived for whatever how many years they've lived. It's our turn to live ours as well. But that doesn't regard the fact that we should just neglect whatever they're saying. We should take into account, yes, but also make decisions for ourselves. For example, arranged marriage. What do you guys think of that?
What?
I
I think
don't
it's
agree
great.
I don't agree with that.
You don't
What?
agree with
I
that?
agree with that. I don't.
Arrange-
Are you
Are
serious?
you serious?
I'm serious.
You agree?
I don't.
Like I think
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
Um,
What? How? Like,
Yeah.
go.
Okay, before we talk about that, you were talking about how like they always, dictate for us. And I think some way, somehow, I think relationship is two ways. It shouldn't just be your parents always, saying something. I think with most African kids too, I think we fall short in certain areas. We should also try to get to know our
I'm
parents.
scared of them. What do you expect?
Yeah.
No, wait, you're scared of them, but like you should
I'm not
also
talking
play
about
a
me.
role.
I'm just saying,
No,
like,
you have it.
You know?
what do you expect?
How? Like,
But
what do
you
you
get
How? Like, I mean, when it's their birthdays, you should try and get them something. You know?
Call them.
Call them. I mean, like, I remember when I was in secondary school, when we were in school, like, some students would even call their parents. They'll only call them when they need something.
That's
Like, how would you feel if you're a parent and anytime your child calls you, Dad, I need this, you know?
But they didn't
So I
create
feel
that
like,
atmosphere though.
pardon?
They didn't create that atmosphere to like call them just like that. Say I'm just checking up on you for no reason.
Because they're always, because most of the conversations you guys have
Right.
is always like, I'm not saying you,
Official, yeah, formal conversation.
it's always like,
Yeah.
You don't just meet
do
your
this,
normal
or
like that.
I'm better than you at this, or you must, this is how it's supposed to be. Or, if you really want to know if African parents know their children, right? Let a foreigner, right, like a white person or someone else, ask them, how's your daughter? How's your son? Let's hear what they'll say. They'll probably say something like, oh, she's fine, she's in school. So that's how your daughter is doing. She's fine, she's in school, she's in church. She cleans the house, he does the chores. So that's how your son is doing.
Right.
You're not seeing anything, you're just assuming your daughter is fine. You just know what she's doing at this moment as well.
Yeah.
Or you just know what your son is doing at this moment. That's basically what you're saying. Right?
Yeah.
They don't really say, oh, she's now working towards a YouTube channel. Or he's now, he's playing soccer in Turkey or in England. Even when they do that, they still just say what they know you're doing. They don't really know, they don't really get involved.
I get what you're trying to say, but I'm also saying,
I'm a mommy's boy.
of course.
I'm a mommy's boy. Right?
Cool.
My mom calls me like almost every day. Texts me like almost every day, right?
Yeah.
You're very lucky.
Yeah, very, very lucky.
No.
No, but I'm
And-
saying, okay, you talk.
And I tell her how I feel. That's just me though. That's just me. I tell her how I feel. I don't care. I talk to anyone. Right? So she knows me very well. But still she doesn't know my favorite color or stuff like that. But I'm just saying, because I speak up. But there are other people, there are other guys I know that are mommy's boys or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that connection is not even there, It's just like, oh, you guys check up on each other every day. You really love your mom. You guys have conversations about like, oh, how is tomorrow going to be?
Right.
Or, just not really deep things.
Yeah. But it comes back to you were saying something like you speak up, right? Like you tell her what is on your mind. So I feel like that's how she gets to know you. So if you're an African child and you don't also, speak up to your parents, how are they going to know
Because she
you?
doesn't create that atmosphere.
That's what Victor was saying.
So I'm looking at.
Right.
I
The
have
atmosphere
great
is around.
parents, right? But
Okay.
but that doesn't mean I'll be biased. So when I'm talking about like African parents, what they do, but I'm saying
You
it
make a
from
good point.
I'm saying it from another angle,
Right.
So they don't create that atmosphere for me. And I wasn't really talking about me. I was just using myself as an example.
Right.
I was just talking in general, So they don't create that atmosphere. But what you're saying is correct. You know? I mean, we have friends. We hear like, we talk to ourselves. We know. We see it on TV everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I think if you feel that way, that, oh, okay, your parents don't know you, okay? You have to also try to get to know them. Because I think if they don't know you, you also don't really know
If the
them.
relationship is not about knowing each other, then what is the point of trying to know the other person?
Yeah, we get that point,
If that's
that is
not
that
why
way,
we are
but we
here.
can solve it, right? It shouldn't be like that forever. I know people that haven't even met their parents for years.
Now she's
They meet
talking.
them and then they
Now
can make that
don't
connection.
focus on-
It's not always just going to be the same. So we are talking about how to move forward from there. It's not just going to be like, oh, my parents don't know me and I don't know them, so we are going to leave that way. There should be a solution to that.
Oh, what do you want? Oh, what do you need? Mommy, oh, daddy, oh. Let me know. No be lie. When I need you the most is when I see you the most, yeah. No be lie. When I need you the most is when I see you the most. Bang, bang.